What's up guys, Nick here from Find Your Grind. Each week, Dingo and I will be bringing you brand new topics on what's going on with learning, education, and the future of work. Let's get into it.
We need to reskill more than 1 billion people by 2030. The underlying message was the organizations, government, society need to work together to ensure people around the world are not left behind.
The fact that young people now, are, in terms of future of work, are going to have to be shifting careers. They say a fourth of America now is going to be having to shift careers every 5 years. And so the idea of constantly like relearning and upskilling and the idea of lifelong learning coming into effect to be able to make those transitions and to be adaptable in the workforce is something that I feel like schools are implementing more of in terms of learning products. But also now we see that corporations like Verizon are now starting to implement those tactics inside the workforce, which is really this concept of super learning, right? Which is really upskilling people inside your actual corporation. And the last thing that I'll say too is I talked about future of work, future of learning as another bucket. Really goes from, I love this idea of it's transforming from learning about a subject to learning about yourself, right? That is kind of where like I feel like the world of learning needs to go. Much more personalized, much more data-driven, much more serving content and serving learning subjects to me as I am a learner and the things that I need to be learning about. You could be, you know, at a different pace and at a different point in how you should be learning about a certain subject compared to me. And so I think the idea of where we go in the future of learning really happens a lot inside the classroom and with the products we're developing for students to go through of at your own pace, much more personalized, much more data-driven world that is going to improve how people learn about themselves and about certain subjects. And I think that's super, super interesting and cool. And two things to kind of separate: future of work, future of learning. Going to Verizon, what's going on with them?
So Citizen Verizon is their plan, our plan for economic, environmental, and social development. Our goal is to move the world forward for everyone by expanding digital access, protecting the climate, and preparing people for jobs of the future. Their goal is to touch 10 million youths provided with digital skills training by 2030, 100% carbon neutral in our operations by 2035, 500,000 individuals prepared for jobs by the future 2030, taking responsibility for shared future. So then they dive into, they've got a bunch of different categories here: digital inclusion, climate protection, humane prosperity, product responsibility, share. So you go on here, and if you dive into climate, Verizon, it kind of showcases how they're hitting the classroom, what they're kind of giving back. You know, obviously they're able to offer internet service and put products within the classroom.
Yep.
So it's you know, you do hear the word 2030 a lot,
yep,
and you're going to keep hearing it a lot. It's only 10 years away. It's not that far.
Yeah.
And what we've talked about earlier is if we're not careful, we don't teach our kids the right skill sets for the future, then humans that won't be able to work in the future.
Yeah.
They won't be qualified to work in the future. They won't know what to do. So it's one of the most important things.
I just think this concept is cool because it's not just talking about how we, teach skills and teach, things to students in a classroom. And it's about really addressing kind of the workforce and what's currently happening inside of corporations, which is really interesting to me, of like how you implement those things in a Verizon versus inside of a classroom, which I think is really interesting to kind of look across both of those sectors.
Just one of the things here, digital inclusion. When it comes to the digital world, access is the beginning. We want to promote technology as a tool to improve communities, education, and workforce. You click into it, it goes into it. There's a smaller video, a future that's exclusive, and then it kind of goes into here. Since 2014, Verizon Integrated Learning Students has reached over 350,000 students, and 78% of the teachers said that the program enhanced student engagement. So, and then it dives into a video there, and it continues on, and it kind of keeps going down. Keeping rural communities connected, 2.5 million people covered by the LTE Rural America program in 2019, 129,000 square miles covered with 1,350 LTE-enabled sites in 13 states, 18 network partners to provide LTE service in rural areas via a growing network of active sites. So Citizen Verizon really kind of pushing forward there, and a cool article to dive into.
Yeah, what I think is cool to tie it all back to what we're doing at Find Your Grind is really we're all about self-discovery, helping people learn more about themselves. Come in the door today with a skill. You can't come in the door today with just a degree, right? You got to know what you're good at and what you're there for in terms of what you can offer and put on the table, right? Emerging careers and emerging industries, we're tackling that. We're constantly onboarding new careers, new industries, new topics, new mentors that humanize those careers, which is so important to see. And lastly, future economy skills, right? Blending those skills that are going to be necessary and these type of things that these corporations are trying to address inside of our product, I think is an amazing thing that we're doing too, to kind of bring all three of those pieces together in a cohesive project or a product to release to the world. I think is really exciting.
The future is ours.
The future belongs to the Misfits.